In this lesson, I'll show you how to find the area of a trapezoid. We'll start with an easy question and then make our way to a more challenging one. And before we start, remember that a trapezoid is a quadrilateral, meaning that it's a shape consisting of 4 sides. The interesting thing about this quadrilateral is that it's somewhat of a rectangle with 2 triangles placed on either side. So finding the area is a little more complicated than, let's say, finding the area of a simple rectangle. Take, for instance, this trapezoid. We have this line and this line that are parallel. And by definition, you always have 2 sides that are parallel in a trapezoid. These 2 sides are not parallel. The ones that are parallel, you label them A and B. So this side we'll call A, and this we'll call B. The height is given to us in red, it's 2.9 inches. And that's exactly what we need to find the area. The formula for the area of a trapezoid is A is equal to A plus B in brackets times the height divided by 2. We have everything we need. We have A and B, so I'll take 1.5 plus 3.3 and multiply that by 2.9. Whatever that product is, we divide by 2. Let's use our calculator. Bracket 1.5 plus 3.3 times 2.9 divided by 2. The area of this trapezoid is 6.96. And if you want this to 2 significant figures, you can write this out as 7.0 inches squared. Let's move on to question 2. Now in this question, you have to use a little bit of trigonometry. So if you haven't learned about trigonometry, knowing how to do question 1 is good enough. So a question like this is more likely to be introduced in a grade 10 level. And unlike the previous question, we don't know 2 things. We don't know the distance from here to here. Let's call this A, but we do know B. And we don't know the height. So what you can do, and given the description of a trapezoid at the very beginning, you can break this down as if it were a composite figure. Let me show you what I mean. So I'll cut this into 3 separate shapes. A triangle here, and a triangle here. And using this triangle, which is a right triangle, I can use one of the trigonometric functions, one of the trigonometric ratios, to find out the height. In fact, I have an angle, I have the hypotenuse length, and I'm looking for the opposite. O and H. That's sine. Sine of 45 is equal to the opposite, which is what I'm looking for, which I'll call H, and my hypotenuse is 20.2. Using our calculator, we can find H by taking 20.2 and multiplying it by sine of 45. This gives us 14.28. 14.28 is equal to the height. So rewriting the formula for area, we have A plus B times the height divided by 2. We have B and we have H. Now we need to find A. To find what A is, I need to figure out what the length from here to here is and the length from here to here. If I find those 2 lengths, I can subtract them from 28.6 and that will give me A. So I need to do 2 more calculations. Let's start with this one. Once again, I need to use a trigonometric ratio. I'm looking for, this time, the adjacent, and I know the hypotenuse, so I'll use cosine. Cosine of 45 degrees is equal to my adjacent, which I don't know. I'll denote that as another letter. Let's call it C. I'm not using A because I've already used this for A. Over 20.2. Make sure that your calculator's in degrees. Mine is. Cosine 45 times 20.2. That's 14.28. So I'll write down 14.28. Notice that it's identical to this number. This means that this is a isosceles triangle. 45, 45, and 90. And I know the height, which I found earlier was 14.28. Now I need to find what this is. I have the opposite, but I don't have the adjacent. So that's tangent. Tangent 60. The opposite length is 14.28. The adjacent is what we're looking for. I'll use the letter Y just because I'm running out of letters. So we have To find y, we'll take 14.28 divided by tangent of 60, and this gives us 8.24. So this is 8.24. I'll subtract this number and this number from 28.6, and I should end up with the length from here to here. So I have 28.6 minus 8.24 minus 14.28, and we get 6.08. That's our a value. 6.08 plus 28.6 times the height of 14.28, all divided by 2. Using our calculator, multiplied by 14.28 divided by 2, and the area is 247.6 units. To three significant figures, we can say that it's 248. 248 units squared. And there you have it. That is how to find the area of a trapezoid.